Hey there, let me ask you something. Have you ever looked at your paycheck and thought, wait, who is Fika and why are they taking my money? Or maybe you've seen a receipt at a store that says, if that sounds like you, you're not alone. Millions of people ask the same question. Where does my tax money actually go? Today, we're breaking it down in the simplest way possible. No boring government reports. So, grab a snack, especially if it's been taxed, and let's jump into Section 1. What are taxes? Let's start at the very beginning. What are taxes? That's it. They're mandatory payments that you, me, and just about every working adult make to the government. But why? Well, imagine you live in a town with smooth roads, clean water, working street lights, schools, fire stations, and police. None of that just magically appears. Someone has to build, maintain, and run all those services, and that someone needs to be paid. So taxes are kind of like the monthly membership fee we all pay to live in a functioning society. Section 2. Types of taxes. Okay, so what kinds of taxes are there? You probably already know some of them, but here's a quick breakdown. 1. Income tax, taken straight out of your paycheck. Goes to both the federal and state government, if your state has one. 2. Payroll taxes, also taken from your paycheck. Funds Social Security and Medicare. 3. Sales tax, added when you buy stuff. Varies by state or city. 4. Property tax. If you own a home or land, you pay this yearly. Funds local services, especially schools. 5. Excise taxes. Hidden taxes on specific goods like gas, alcohol, and cigarettes. 6. Corporate taxes. Paid by businesses on profits. Though, let's be honest, you might be paying more than some big companies. Section 3. Where does it all go? All right. Now, let's get to the real question. Where does all this money actually go? Let's break it down by levels. A. Federal taxes. USA example. Most of your income taxes and payroll taxes go to the federal government. In 2024, the federal government collected about $5 trillion in total revenue. So, where did it all go? Social Security, approximately 22%. This is the biggest slice of the pie. Social Security is like a giant retirement program. When you work, you pay in. When you retire, you, hopefully, get money back monthly. It also helps people with disabilities and surviving spouses. 2. Medicare and Medicaid, approximately 25% combined. Medicare equals healthcare for people 65 and older. Medicaid equals healthcare for low-income individuals, families, and individuals. These programs help cover doctor visits, surgeries, and prescription costs for millions of Americans. Military and defense, 12 to 15%. This includes salaries for soldiers, weapons, tanks, jets, aircraft carriers, and foreign operations. Fun fact? The US spends more on its military than the next 10 countries combined. 4. Interest on the national debt, approximately 8%. Yup. Just like you pay interest on a credit card or mortgage, the government pays interest on trillions of dollars in debt. So a chunk of your tax dollars is literally going toward paying off interest. Infrastructure, education, and everything else. The rest. This includes highways, disaster relief, food safety, NASA, the FBI, public housing, agriculture, veterans benefits, and so much more. B. State and local taxes. Now, let's zoom in on where your state and city taxes go. These taxes fund the things you see closest to you. The stuff you use almost every day, like your local public school, police and fire departments, public transportation, garbage pickup, local roads and bridges, parks and libraries, city construction projects. Wait. Section 4. What about waste, corruption, big salaries? A lot of people feel like taxes are wasted, and yeah, sometimes they are. There are examples of mismanaged military contracts, politicians with ridiculous expense accounts, roads that cost way too much, programs that nobody uses anymore but still get funded. But here's something most people don't realize. The majority of your tax dollars are going toward programs that actually run the country: retirement, healthcare, infrastructure, defense, and education. Section 5. Who decides where it all goes? You might be wondering, okay, but who's deciding where all this tax money gets spent? Mostly Congress. Every year, the president proposes a budget. Then, Congress debates, changes, and passes a version of that budget. Agencies like the Department of Defense, Health and Human Services, and Education then spend that money. On the state and local level, your governor, mayor, city council, and school board help decide spending priorities. So yes, who you vote for matters. Section 6. Why do some people pay more than others? Let's talk about something that really gets people talking. Why do some people pay more taxes than others? Here's the simple answer. The US has a progressive income tax system, which means the more money you make, the higher your tax rate. At least, in theory. Real example. Let's say you make $40,000. Your tax rate might be around 12%, $100,000. Your tax rate might jump to 22%, $1 million. Could be 37%, the highest federal tax bracket. But here's the catch, and it's a big one. Just because the rate is higher doesn't mean rich people always pay more as a percentage. Why? Because of deductions, loopholes, and how income is earned. Section 7. The loophole game, how the rich pay less. Let's break this down in plain English. If you earn money from a regular job, like a salary or hourly wage, you get taxed right away. But if you're making money from stocks, investments, real estate, owning a company, you're playing a different tax game entirely. Capital gains. Lower tax rates. Billionaires often don't take big salaries. They make money from investments, and that's taxed at a lower rate than a regular paycheck. For example, ordinary salary, taxed up to 37%. Long-term capital gains, taxed at 0 to 20%. So yes, it's possible for a billionaire to pay less in taxes percentage-wise than a teacher or nurse. Wild, right? Section 8. What about tax refunds? Ah yes, tax refunds. Everyone loves that time of year when the government says, here's your money back. But what is a tax refund really? It's not a bonus, it's not free money, it's just your own money being returned to you because you overpaid during the year. You're not winning when you get a refund. You just gave the government an interest-free loan. Smart taxpayers aim to break even, where you owe nothing and get nothing. Section 9. So, can I see where my specific taxes go? Yes, sort of. There are websites and tools that let you see roughly where your federal income tax is going. For example, try the White House tax receipt tool. You enter your income. It tells you how much of your taxes went to things like education, defense, healthcare, etc. Section 10. Do other countries do it differently? Oh yes. Let's take a quick world tour of taxes. Every country has taxes, but how they collect and how they spend varies a lot. Sweden. High taxes, high services. People in Sweden pay more, but get more. What they get: free college, universal healthcare, paid parental leave, childcare subsidies, pensions, tax rates, higher, but fewer surprise bills. United States, lower taxes, more personal responsibility. You pay less in taxes compared to many countries, but you often pay more out of pocket for health insurance, college, childcare, retirement. It's a trade-off. Canada, in the middle. Free healthcare, moderate tax rates, strong safety nets. So, which system is best? There's no perfect system. Each has pros and cons. It really depends on what kind of balance people want between individual freedom, government services, economic equality. Section 11. Is there a better way to use taxes? Absolutely. And it's not as impossible as it sounds. Here are some things experts and economists often suggest. 1. Simplify the tax code. Right now, the U.S. tax code is over 70,000 pages long. That's why tax prep companies like TurboTax make billions, because most of us can't figure it out without help. A simpler system equals less stress, less loopholes. 2. Close corporate tax loopholes. Some huge companies, you've probably heard of them, pay $0 in federal income tax in certain years. That's legal, but frustrating. Closing those gaps equals more fairness. 3. Make tax dollars trackable. Imagine if you could see, like a monthly statement, exactly where your taxes went. Transparency builds trust. 4. Let people choose a percent of their taxes. What if you could choose where 10% of your taxes went? Want more funding for education? Done. Less for defense? Okay. More for clean energy? You got it. It's like voting with your money. Section 12. How do you get the most from what you pay? Okay, real talk. You can't avoid taxes, but you can make sure you benefit from what you're paying into. Use public education. If you're a parent, public school is one of the biggest services your taxes fund. Get involved, advocate, use the resources, use public transit. It's cheaper, greener, and you're already paying for it. Visit public parks, national and state parks, paid with your taxes. Go enjoy them. File your taxes smartly. Use free filing options if you qualify.
Take every legal deduction and credit. And if you're self-employed or own a business, get advice. There's no shame in using the system well. So, are taxes good or bad? The truth is, taxes are like tools. They can be used well or poorly. They can build societies or frustrate them. They can promote fairness or hide inequality. But here's the thing, every road you drive on, every hospital you visit, every teacher who teaches your kid, that's your tax money at work. The goal isn't to hate taxes. The goal is to make them work better. Conclusion: next time someone says, "Where do my taxes even go?" you can tell them, a lot of places, some good, some not so good, but all of them are shaping the country we live in. And maybe the real question isn't, where does our tax money go, but where should it go next? Stay curious. If you learned something, give this video a like, subscribe, and share it with someone. Thanks for watching. Until next time, stay smart, stay curious.